Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be all about my Faves Under 5. So these are all drugstore products that I've been using for a long time that I think can even compete with some higher end brands, and they are super affordable. So I think we all need that reminder of some of these hidden gems every once in a while, because drugstore prices have just gotten so crazy. Sometimes there's barely a gap between the drugstore and the mid-range brands. So I like to every once in a while just pull these out and use them and remind myself that you really don't have to spend a lot to get some good quality products. So without further ado, let's get started. So my first fave under 5 is the LA Girl Pro Conceal HD Concealer. This comes in such a wide range of shades, especially for the drugstore. I think there are 20 shades of the concealer, and then there's a white shade that you can mix in and sort of lighten them up a little bit, because I actually wear the lightest shade Porcelain, but I know there are people who are even more fair than me, so they do make that white shade that you can sort of mix in with this and lighten it even more. And then there are also 7 other correctors. They have the peach and the lavender and green, yellow ones. I mean, it's kind of insane, but they're $4.99 at Ulta. You can get them at some CVS stores and online at lagirlcosmetics.com. And I'll link everything that I talk about today below, by the way. But what I love about this is it gives great coverage. It's super creamy, but it's lightweight. It just blends so easily, especially in my under eye area where I have fine lines. It doesn't accentuate them at all. It doesn't sink into them. I don't find that it creases on me at all. It's just a really good concealer, and it's great at brightening up as well. It's actually so creamy that I've used this before all over my face as a foundation. I mean, I don't recommend doing that all the time, but in a pinch, I have used this before, and on top of a primer, it actually works fine. I just sort of spotted it all over my face and blended it in, and it was great. So this is just amazing for the price. I love this. So my next favorite is the Wet n Wild Color Icon Bronzer in Reserve Your Cabana. Now, this actually isn't a bronzer at all. As you can see, it's very light. They do make deeper shades, but this particular shade, Reserve Your, is the perfect finishing powder, as it has just the very slightest glow to it. Think kind of like the Hourglass ambient powders. It's super finely milled. It's not cakey at all, and I have dry skin, so I normally don't use a setting powder. I don't need to set my makeup. I find that, you know, it just adds to the dry look, but this doesn't. It adds actually an all-over radiance. So if my skin is looking particularly dull, I can just sort of dust this all over. It looks just revived and healthy and glowy without any glitter or too much shimmer. So this is just one of those products I've been using for years and years. I think this is like my second or third one, and they're huge, so they last a really long time. But for $3.99, it's an amazing dupe for the Hourglass powders. So next up is the bronzer that I use every day. It's the Essence Sun Club Matte Bronzing Powder, and this is in the lighter shade. There's 2 shades, one is a little bit deeper. It's $4.99 at Ulta, and I just love this one because, first of all, it comes in a huge pan. You'll never run out, and the color on this is perfect if you have fair to light skin and you have trouble finding a bronzer that's not orange. This isn't too warm or too cool. It's very neutral. The powder is super soft. It smells like coconut, and you can see it just warms up my skin just enough with no shimmer and no glitter. And it is buildable if you want a little bit more color, but I love that it's just very light and natural. So I just dust it all over, and it's amazing for every day. Okay, so let's talk blush for a minute. This is the Jordana Powder Blush, and these are $2.99 at jordanacosmetics.com. They're not as easy to find in store. I found mine at Kmart, but certain stores that do carry some Jordana Cosmetics, like Walmart or Walgreens, they don't carry the blushes. So They're a little bit of a pain to find. If you do live near a Kmart, they have some of the shades there, but on the Jordana website, they have all of the shades, and there are 24. which is great. So you can definitely find what you're looking for, and they're so inexpensive that even, you know, I just order a bunch of them, and some work and some are maybe a little too dark for me, but they have a nice range of mattes and shimmers as well. I'm actually wearing one of the mattes today. This is the shade Tawny Beige, and it's just a really beautiful shade. Perfect like pinky peachy nude matte, and they're super blendable and very easy to pick up with a brush, but they're pigmented, but they're not so pigmented that as soon as you touch your blush, you know, your brush to your cheek, that they're going to give you that clown cheek. They're just really nicely finely milled and easy to blend out, and they're actually pretty long lasting. I mean, they do last the majority of the day on me, which is really good for $2.99. Next up, I'm going to talk about two of my favorite highlighters, and not just at the drugstore, but of all time. I wear these constantly. This first one is a more subtle highlight, and this is the Essence Pure Nude Highlighter. It's $4.49 at Ulta. And when I first bought this, I looked at the pan and I thought, it looks kind of a little bronzy. I don't think this is really gonna work with my skin tone, but actually it is about the same shade as my skin tone when I swatch it. It's just this really beautiful, subtle glow. It's not like shimmery or glittery, it's just glowy. It's so hard to explain, but it just gives my skin that like lit from within sort of glow. Like when I turn and, you know, my cheekbone might catch the light and then you'll see it, but it's not like one of those in your face type of highlights. It just gives your skin the most beautiful glow. And so I absolutely love this, and the shade is spot on, even though I thought that it was going to be too dark. And I've seen so many other bloggers and YouTubers rave about it as well. Various different skin tones. It just seems to sort of work for everybody. So this is an awesome option if you just like a really natural highlight. And then for a more in-your-face highlight, the Wet n Wild Mega Glow highlighters are insane for the price. They are so creamy and so buttery. I mean, they can really just compete with any high-end highlighter out there. Like, look at that glow. It's crazy. This one is actually the shade Blossom Glow. This is my favorite one because it's great for more fair skin tones. It's got like a champagne-y sort of with a little bit of pink tone to it, but there are deeper shades as well. I think there are 6 altogether, and these are $4.99, so you can't beat it because, I mean, this is like as shiny as something you would get from Becca for $38. So this is awesome. Okay, so let's talk about one more face product before we move on to eyes and lips. This is the Wet n Wild Mega Glow Contouring Palette. Now, this is in the shade Dulce de Leche. There is a darker shade option as well, but this one I find is perfect for my skin tone. And I love this better than using my larger contour kits because I don't contour all that much, but even when I do, I find that in the larger kits, there's only one shade, usually the lightest one, that works for me, and the rest of them go to waste. So this one is great because this shade here, the contour shade, is the perfect shade for me. And then this one is great for setting under your eyes. I know a lot of people that use it that way. I don't, because I just don't set my under eye. My concealer doesn't have a tendency to crease. I have such dry skin. Powdering under my eyes just sort of is aging, but it does make a great brow bone highlight. And these powders are very soft and very smooth and easy to blend, which I love about this. And this is pretty much, as far as contouring goes, all I need. I have a big, huge kit. So let me just swatch the colors for you really quickly. There's the highlight and there's the contour. So you see how, you know, it's actually not super cool toned like a lot of contours are. I feel like it's a little bit more on the neutral side, but it's a little cool toned, but it's not gray looking like some contours are. And then this is also a really beautiful, nicely pigmented, as you can see, highlight shade. They are a little bit powdery, but I don't mind that because they're just so smooth and easy to work with. So this is a great option for contouring if you're not like so into it that you're going to use multiple different shades in a larger palette. So moving on to eyeshadows. First up is the City Color Shimmer Shadows. Now, I don't wear single shadows very often. I usually reach for palettes, it's just easier, but these shadows are fantastic, and I usually use them in conjunction with a palette, sort of as an all-over pop of metallic on my lid. So most of these shades are very metallic, but some of them are a little bit more subtle. They remind me almost exactly of the Kat Von D Metal Crush shadows. They feel the same. They have that really super buttery, almost like creamy texture, and the colors are fantastic. They're so beautiful. I can swatch some of them for you, but they're only $3.99 at citycolorcosmetics.com. This shade is called Pharaoh, and I mean, the shine is just amazing. This one is Homecoming Queen. It's a really beautiful shade as well. I mean, just gorgeous. They feel so velvety. They do apply best with your fingers, but you can use a brush with them as well. This one is Under the Sea. And this purple one is Gypsy. I mean, wait till you see this purple. It's just, these are just gorgeous. And there's a ton of shades. Greens, there's brown, like bronze shades. This one is Bubble Bath. I actually use this one a lot because it's like a really pretty champagne color. And they're just like a beautiful pop on your lid when you're finishing off a look. But if you don't feel like ordering online and you want to grab some single shadows at the drugstore, I also love the Maybelline Expert Wear singles. I saw Tati raving about these over the summer, I believe, and it made me want to try them because Maybelline shadows, for me, I've only ever tried the palettes, and they were usually a huge letdown. So I wasn't too interested in trying the singles, but they're actually really, really good. This one's called Nude Glow, and it's one of my favorites. It's just, look at how pigmented this is. I mean, it like could compete with any higher end shadow. So these are $2.99 at Target. They're $3.99 at Ulta. So I would head to Target if you want to pick up some of these because they are a little hit and miss. There are a few shades I tried that weren't as good, but I would say none of the shades I tried were bad. And some of them, like Nude Glow, were outstanding quality. So the next favorite product under $5 is actually an eyeshadow palette, and you might be wondering how the heck can you even find an eyeshadow palette for under $5, let alone it be any good. But this one is, it's the Wet n Wild Comfort Zone palette. It's $4.99 at drugstores, and this was like one of the first eyeshadow palettes I ever purchased. And it's still something that I use on a regular basis because the shadows in here can definitely compete with higher end shadows for sure. And you'll see, I'll swatch it for you, but it's laid out nicely. So they give you sort of instructions on where to put each shade. So you have your brow bone shade, eyelid, crease color, and then what they're calling a definer. It's sort of the color that I use on the outer corner. You can mix and match, but they also have it sort of laid out in two different looks for you. So you have your brown sort of neutrals on this side, and then on this side you could do a really pretty green look. But wait until you see the pigmentation on this baby. It's like, what? This is the eyelid shade. Isn't that like crazy, especially for drugstore? They're very blendable, easy to pick up. They do have some fallout, but that's kind of to be expected when you have soft shadows like this. So that's the neutral side, and then here's the green side. This is what they're saying is a brow bone highlight. This is the eyelid. I mean, whoa. Then here's the crease color. Isn't that crazy? And then this one is such a pretty duochrome. Look at that. This palette is just stunning. And I mean, what else can I say about it? It speaks for itself. It's beautiful. For under $5, you just can't beat this. So the last product I'm going to talk about today are the Essence Matte 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 lipsticks. And normally I would stay very far away from anything that says matte lipstick just because I have dry lips and my lips are naturally lined as well. So any type of drier formula just makes them look really old and cracked and just awful. So I normally stick to glosses, but every once in a while I do really like a nice matte finish. So these are holy grail for me because they're super creamy and they're lightweight. They almost feel like Tarte Color Splash lipsticks, which I absolutely love as well. Those are $21 and these are $4. So I'm actually wearing one of them today. This is shade 02 and I can swatch it for you here. It's just a really pretty pinky nude and you can see like they just go on really nicely. This is shade 1, which is more of like a peachy pink shade. And then shade 3 is more of a berry tone color. So they have that matte finish that you want. It's very natural looking though, and it's not dry at all. So for the price, I think that these are absolutely amazing. I plan to go back and get a few more. I actually just saw on the Ulta website that there's also a holiday set with 4 of these in it. I'm not sure if there's any overlaps with the colors that I have, but it's $9.99 and you're getting 4 of them, so that would normally be $16. So if you're thinking about maybe trying some of these, that holiday set is actually a great value. So I will link everything down below. So that does it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it and found some new products to try. And if you have tried any of these products and love them, please let me know in the comments below. I always love hearing from you guys. And if you'd please take a minute to thumbs up this video if you liked it, and also head over to my channel and hit the subscribe button. I would absolutely love that. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.